Hey guys, Scott Patton here. I've got my top 4 picks for you guys for May. Okay, what you've got to consider is right now, the beginning of May, we've got bass still on the beds. Okay, especially in this part of the country. So here soon in the next few days, we've already got fry, but the bass's fry is going to start hatching. Okay, so you're going to have those males and some of the females garden fry. So you're going to consider that as the first choice. Now, the one bait that I love to throw, especially here on Chickamauga and other lakes in this part of the country, is a popping frog. Okay, uh, I like a popping frog because you want it to make noise. A regular frog just doesn't seem like it draws the strikes that a popping frog does. Because what happens is you've got your fry, which is going to stay probably in the first 2 or 3 inches of the water column on the surface. Okay, and it's going to be around wood. It could be back in undercut bank. It could be over the yellow flowers that grow down here and stuff like that. So what you got to do is you want that popping frog, because when you're popping it in that fry, and it's like I said, it's in that first 2 to 3 inches of the water. It looks like it's eating a fry. Okay, and a popping frog, especially one that you can walk, and this frog here is easy to walk. Okay, so that's why I like to use this one, because it will walk real easy. So it looks like that the frog is eating the fry, and the fry garters cannot stand that. So you're going to get a really good explosive, excuse me, you're going to get a really good explosive bite from the bass by throwing that popping frog in the fry. You can work, because it's weedless, of course. You can throw it through all kinds of cover, tree tops, lay downs, grass, and any kind of surface grass and stuff like that the bass may be hiding in, or the fry may be hiding in. The bass will be guarding the fry. Okay, so and one other thing you got to make sure you do when you're throwing that popping frog is always throwing on a stiff rod, because you want a good hook set. And one of the main things is to use braided line. I use 50 to 65 pound test braid, and you're going to get a whole lot better hook set on that, because when that fish hits that, you want to let him take it, and you want to pop him real hard, and you got to have that stiff rod or stiff rod in that braid without the stretch to catch those fish. Okay, so that's my number 1 pick as far as when you got bass garden fry. You can also use these around docks and stuff like that, so you'll still draw that strike on that from that bass using that popping frog. Okay. And then after that, what you've got that's going to happen is we're going to have the shad spawn, which we're already having part of the shad spawn going on here on Chickamauga in this part of the country. I've been seeing it every day, and we've been catching some fish. We caught a couple today out of the shad spawn, but it's not real dominant just yet. So when you got the shad spawn going on, I usually will go with more of a walking bait. Okay, this is a Lucky Craft gunfish, one of my favorites. I usually replace the hooks on the gunfish. Okay, I like to put up bigger hooks than the ones that come onto it. I tie them on feathers, and but what you want to do is fish this around when you're seeing the shad spawn. It'll be early in the morning. You got to make sure you get out early. So what you got to do is you're going to be looking at like along docks, any kind of seawall. I've seen like lay down trees, cedar trees in the water like that. The shad is spawn all around that, and when you see it, you're going to know it's a shad spawn, because they're going to be all over the surface. Okay, and this is a real good bait to throw during that shad spawn. Also, I also like the Sammy, of course. I will probably use the Sammy more when the water is calm. Okay, versus when you got chopped. That's where the gunfish, because it's got that pop, that concave mouth in it, so it makes a popping noise, but it also walks. And this is going to be better if you got a chop on the water. Okay, you got some wind blowing, and if it's going to be calm and just shad are spawning, and you see that you can throw this just a regular Sammy, and it walks real good on the surface. You want to walk it and stop it, walk it and stop it, and let it set, and that's when you can get your some really good bites on that. You want to also throw braid on both of these baits. You can make these baits walk real easy with that braid. It may take you some practice, but there's no stretch in it, and especially if the wind's blowing and you got a little bow in your line, it's still easier to walk these baits with braid versus monofilament. You don't want to use them with fluorocarbon, because fluorocarbon sinks, and it's going to make the nose of your baits hold down into the water, and it's going to be much harder to get that walking action. Okay, guys? So make sure that You use braid with that. Like as far as a rod, I usually go with like a 6'10", 6'9", something like that, a little bit shorter. That way I can hold that rod down closer to the water and walk that bait. I'd rather have that bait. It's kind of like working a jerk bait. I like maybe have a rod where I can twist it down right in front of me without hitting the water, okay? So using that shorter rod and braid will help you walk these baits a lot easier, okay? And then after that, something else you got to consider, you guys, is going to be the bluegill spawn, okay? Now these bluegill will spawn, you know, in the backs of the creeks around little bar, you know, any kind of gravel bar or some kind of hump, but usually the backs of the creeks will be your number one place to find bluegill spawn, and that's where I'll throw a 1.5, a Lucky Craft 1.5 or 2.5, and both of these are in bluegill colors. You know, it's up to you. Depends on if you got clear water or more stained water when you have these bluegill spawns. You know, on Kentucky Lake, I used to guide there that those bluegills would spawn on old road beds and stuff. They may only be 2 foot deep underneath the water, so they would spawn on these old road beds. And if you find those old road beds, you can take these crankbaits and fish over top of those crankbaits, because those bass are going to be in there and they're going to be eating these bluegill, okay? So that is another good choice as far as in May to use. Look for that bluegill spawn and use some bluegill imitating crankbaits, okay? One other bait that I can't leave out. It was really tough to either go with a spinner bait or a chatterbait or jackhammer is what this is. This is going to be something I'm going to use even during the shad spawn, guys. But I'm going to use it a little bit later in the year, towards the end of May, because the fish are going to start moving a little bit deeper, of course. And I know we're going to have fish out on the ledges at the end of May, but I'm not going to go there yet until next month with those lures that I use then. But the jackhammer and the shad pattern is going to be another good lure to have handy and tied on. And you're going to throw that during the shad spawn, and also you're going to be able to use it later in May. So when the shad spawn's gonna be over, the bass are gonna start moving out. They may be in over hydrilla beds. You can still be able to catch fish shallow, you know, on lay downs and stuff like that. So I had to go with the jackhammer to be my number 4 pick lure for May. All right, guys, and again, this is my top 4 picks. She'll have some pictures for you guys on all these lures and the names of them. And as far as fishing the jackhammer, now I like to throw this a lot on a glass rod. I'll use a 7-foot rod, usually 17-pound test Seaguar fluorocarbon line on this, and I'll fish it on that glass rod. I just feel like when those fish hit that, it gives me a couple seconds, or gives me a second for that fish to inhale that bait before I set the hook on it. And seems like I don't have as many fish to throw it using a good stiff glass rod, okay? But anyways, guys, good luck to you. Follow along. I hope you like this video. Hope it'll help you catch more fish during May. And like I said, I know there's more baits out there that will catch fish for us. We'll kind of cover that stuff in June. And if you're looking for a guide trip, you guys can contact me at the information below. Please follow along, like, subscribe, and comment, you guys. If you got any comments and you want me to answer anything, make sure you comment, and I'll promise y'all I'll get back to you and answer you, okay? Good fishing to you guys, and we'll see you on the water.